Well, hello everyone. We are running camera free today. Let's just go fix this so that we can't see all this light business. And we have something new to show off. We're getting close to the time for our May release for Tribes. And here is our first serious preview in 3D of what to expect. So we've made this kind of cool skiff. Hopefully you guys can hear me all right. Let me know in the chat. I'm streaming from home today. I am having some trouble with allergies. I am home watching the dog, and it is a nice warm sunny day here in Banishboard. So I'm going to have a fairly short stream today. Why do you keep asking if your package arrived, John, since you know it did? Anyway, John and Alban are in the office. Well, presumably Alban. And here we have a little skiff. It's almost printable. I'm going to test print it tomorrow. I can show you guys how it works. But this is an example, yet again, of what we can do in a very quick amount of time with a very high amount of detail. The power suit, not sculpted by me, so I haven't done that in like a few days' time. But the skiff is, and I thought today we could maybe look into and discuss with the chat what kind of a variant we might like to see for our Friends of Benjamin and Tribers. So April, we released two versions of a new Garou series fighter, and that seemed to be a pretty popular kit, having like the standard version available for our $5 backers, and then a second version available for people that are on the Friends of Benjamin tier. And usually it's not like a full rework like the one that we did. Had a missile launcher. It's technically up as a second product. They do share something like 80% of the parts in common, but does provide a little bit more value and a little bit more variety for those on our highest tier, creating a bit of value. Also, since we're talking about tribes today, work on Persephone will continue next week, but and I can do a little bit of updates. Like, I believe John can confirm, but I believe we're now 100% delivered for the 5th Frontier War STL collection. So everything should be up now that we promised during the campaign. Let us know if we've missed something. Yes. Confirmed by John, which feels like an important milestone to get done. We will look into Traveller in the future and see what we can come up with, perhaps with something later on in the year. I don't know yet. I can't commit. We also need to renegotiate our license. It's about to it's up for expiry at the end of the year, so we need to sort that out first. I don't think there'll be a problem. Mongoose are really easygoing and have been a pleasure to work with so far. So yeah, two releases this month. We have the Skiff and we have a series of power suit miniatures. Now these are based off some really old sketches of mine, which I forgot to pull up before I got started. Any news about the Traveller license extension? I literally just said I need to talk to them. So I don't know. I don't know yet. We haven't discussed it. I imagine it won't be an issue to extend it. Like, it doesn't make business sense for either party not to continue. But, oh, okay, now you just give me a hard time. Alright, I should have, I walked right into that one. Anyway, yeah, Mongoose, I think, would be happy to continue. So I'd be very surprised if there's any hiccups there, because it would mean also we would have to stop selling our existing Traveller line. And that would mean less money for Mongoose as well. I love the detail that we put into this thing, or I put into this thing rather. This is also based off a very rough sketch. Both items are. So they're actually very early Ben Designs. I'm just going to get up this window. It has some of the temporary OBG files that we're working with, just so I can kind of maybe find the sketches and show you how rough this is. And unlike, there is quite a difference, I would say. We're working with a new artist on this one, and it does show a bit of a gulf sometimes between a design I have in my head and a design that is, by someone else. Like when we get the Mongoose stuff, I'm just looking at the art that exists and we're basing it off that art, and then how it looks in the back and that sort of thing. We have quite a bit of artistic license. We're not the people that created it, and I imagine there's a lot of that going around as well for people that have not the primary artists. Like usually I have in my mind a fairly decent idea about how something looks in 3 dimensions. If I go in here, this is off screen, sorry, you don't need to see all the photos of my dog. And if I go into let's see. Oh, no. Anyway, go into there, and I want to throw up. Let's see. I think we've got character designs. That's where this one is from. So this will be extremely rough. I think this is probably the most complete one. This was a clarification image, and we did have to go through quite a few where I cel shaded things. So I'll show you the original sketch. Let's see. I don't even know if it's in the right orientation. This is a very old design from... Not entirely sure. You can actually see it's old enough that I think I've got like... I think this is a 3.5. Like, I want to say D20 modern era. And you can kind of see like the start of a female version there. Unfinished design, not completed, and there is a bit of an incongruency between the style of what I was designing and what the actual sculptor came out with. So I usually am quite messy. So I did try and clean this up just with a very rough sort of coloring to give an idea of some depth. And then it all ultimately ended up in this clarification picture. I had to design the backside, and I would still say that the finished result is not quite where I wanted it to be. I can kill the lighting here just so we can get I guess the shaders aren't really optimal here for looking. I could just, actually, we'll solve this by, we'll turn the light back on. But we'll go to the default shader here so we can just see a little bit better what the mesh looks like. So hard to do this side by side, but it is meant to be like power armor but vac suit. So I kind of ended up, I don't want to say giving up, but I kind of said, look, think about the film Iron Man. In the film Iron Man, we have, you have like the Iron Man suit version 1, right? The Mark 1. So this is like the Mark 1 version of my sketch. So this would be a more refined design. This is also more anime. It's like the helmet too. There's been some confusion here. There was a lot of confusion about this sort of running around the back. This is my style. Like if you were to look at something I designed from scratch, this was designed from scratch just from my head, based on the influences that I have. I can see where I need to clean up things if I were to make this. It would take me a long time too. This is definitely something that is complicated to sculpt. So I'm not at all faulting the artist. What I'm saying is there can be often an incongruency between an artist's vision for something and just getting a commission. And there are issues with perspective in this design. Like you can see this knee is longer than this knee. There's some perspective issues going on with the the legs where they're, bulkier than they need to be. So there is some interpretation questions as well. But I'm fairly happy with this result. The main issue is that it doesn't always feel like this is a power suit. It looks more like a robot to me in some senses. Like you couldn't actually fit into this. Like if you wanted it to be a proper power suit, I'd say you need to, get this up in here, and you would need to considerably shorten the arms and forearms, just so it feels like, this all fits together. And I'm only just demonstrating for the sake of it. But it's very easy for me to say all this as the sort of designer, as the creator, because in this case, obviously, if I'm not modeling it myself, it's almost impossible to get it when I have so few angles where I want it to be. So, there's 3 or 4 poses coming with this one. I'm not entirely sure yet, but the main event, aside from these miniatures, so there will be 3 or 4 poses with these. I think somewhere in here. I think I recently just hid. Let's see. I want my outliner here, and hopefully, let's see. What is this one? No, that's just the extra copy of this thing. I don't know why it says Valkmesh on this one. I don't know how it got that way. I think I just combined it with... I don't know exactly what this is going to be called yet. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I did call it something, but I'm just blanking on what I named it. It probably says it somewhere. And in case I've lost you guys in the chat. Looks like a Votan. I don't know what a Votan is. So I've been playing a lot of Astronauts lately as well. Let me just see if I know I've got a dude here somewhere that's just hiding. Come on, I haven't cleaned up my scene yet. Let's see, that's that. Here. So this is the spacesuit that we had recently. So you can get a decent idea of where a human would be in this suit. So the idea is that your feet are actually in this nook here, right? And then you would go up, that would be your own knees inside the thighs and whatnot. So power suit wise, it is a little bit more anime perspective. That's although I really wanted to add to that. Actually, we can get rid of all this nonsense here. We can go into this mode. And now that we've got a better idea of what it looks like, I think we can switch our default shaders back to where they were. And we can talk about this nifty little vehicle. And before I do that, I just want to say hello to the people in the chat. So who we got here today? We got Shergel, Clive, Solo is here, Brian is here, Doug, Tamsin, Will, Ilupo is here, and John, of course. No Albin. Brendan is here. Made it in time for the stream. Yay! And Sam is here as well. Alright. And the other Brian. Alright, same Brian. Sorry. Alrighty. Yeah, so Albin is also existing, but I gave him a candy bar and he's happy to work away silently. So Albin is working on the conversion of the Aesir fleet so that we get everything printable. At the moment, he's working on Ratatosk, and we anticipate it should be finished, hopefully, in the middle of next week. We'll see. I couldn't imagine it going longer than the end, although the other thing, too, about next week is it's the 1st of May on Thursday, so it will be a shorter week. Oh, sorry, guys. Glad you can't see me yawning today. How to forget John? I didn't forget John. I mentioned John. John is enjoying the Swedish weather, which is finally sunny. So yeah, you get a better idea about how big they are. Also, by the way, guys, there are, if you did have these suits, I did forget. Well, I didn't forget. I just didn't convert them in time. these two different extra versions. So there's one with like a mannequin head in it, and there's one that is just empty. So that's from the Asia fleet, the sort of stowed. I think I call it the Spacesuit Mark 25 for the year, since it seems like I put out a new spaceship every year. Sorry, spacesuit. Yawning is contagious. You made me yawn too. Wow, that's impressive. That is impressive. Audio only. So I'm going to hide this dude again. Actually, let's not hide him. Let's move him, because it's always good to get some perspective. This is actually a different scene than I should technically be using. But now that we've looked at our power suit dude, or dudette, there could be a lady in there, I don't know. Let's just hide this and take a good squiz at the actual skiff itself. So if you're wondering how big this is, and let's see, can I just take a little bit of time here because all my views have mucked up again. Yet another fantastic Maya bug. I'm not sure. I think this is all grouped together. I don't think I've centered it. Let's just move this guy out of that group. Let's see. Out of expert mode. I'm not feeling like an expert at this particular second. Let's drag this up. Dirty, dirty scene. But it needs cleaning up anyway before releasing. Again, like it's only the 25th today. Lest we forget. That there's still another 5 days until release of this thing, or 6 days. So we do have a little bit of time to get printable, to make some corrections, but I don't want to spend too much more time with it either. So just to show the size here, if I center the pivot, hopefully... there's something else hidden here that's big. What is it? See, that pivot point shouldn't have dropped. It should have dropped in the middle of everything. So there's got to be an object here. What is going on? Okay, no matter. Let's make our grid a lot smaller, or rather less detailed. So let's go to 8. Actually, let's go all the way to 4. And you can see our 1 inch grid here. I can move my pivot point. You watch, I'm going to end up running for an hour anyway if I'm not careful. So if I move that and we actually put it into like a 2 by 2 square grid, not everything's coming with it, but it approximately fits into... this got a bit bigger than I intended, only slightly. So it just is slightly too large for a 2 by 2 square area. So you might want a tiny bit of leeway if you were using this. But I think you could get it through most of our doors if you just turn it like 15 degrees to the side. 25th of April is a red day as well. Celebrating the end of World War II. That is the first day. That is the first May Labor Day, so a super short week. Right. I think the chariot worked out better than expected, especially the underside. Yeah, I love the underside and how it worked out. And a part of this is, and I'm going to have to kill the lighting now, definitely, because this is going to get very populated very quickly. But if I turn on my workshop, we're actually in the Nernies reference file. Sorry, is it Nernies? Yes, it is. And we've got our RCS as well. So you can kind of see that we have a ton of models in this scene. Go to the more detailed version again. And this just let me grab bits and bobs off everything. This is why I'm saying it's a mess. You can kind of see a lot of these components have come from the power loader and other places. And also because I've been playing a lot of astronauts, I kind of made a little new battery There's a lot of piping and all that. So, how many greevils are there? Let's say there's 21 million polygons at the moment. Well, I guess faces, no, sorry, 11 million. That's quite a lot of geometry. Wait, did I read that right? Yes, 11 million. So it's actually not as bad as you'd think, but then I think the power suit is quite heavy. So I would like you guys to make some suggestions for how we could do a variant of this thing that we could do for our tribers. And I'm kind of thinking, like, suggestion-wise, I'm maybe only just taking suggestions at this point in time. I don't know if we're actually going to do very much modeling today. But if you're wondering how this is built, it actually splits in two. So if I just show you a side shot here, let me hide all this nonsense again. So it won't be interfering when we go back. There's just 3 supported clip holes in there. This isn't all combined yet for actual printing, so it's like the top prints as one part, the bottom prints as another. The RCS is split as well. And it should basically print in place with the top and bottom. Which I think will be quite effective. We'll see. A gun platform with another guy with a, a pintle mount weapon. Astronauts, the upcoming Animal Crossing in space. Of course, the back should be a 2x3 grid forge. Well, turning it into like a truck of sorts could be good. But I kind of like the design of it. It does have a little bit of an interesting shape with all the roll cages and yeah, I don't know. I think it's got a certain charm to it and a good mix of different reusable parts and whatnot. So I could really see this sort of working. And I kind of wish Astronauts did have something like this, but I do like the sort of like, okay, we've got a battery pack. I was thinking too, you could also do a variant which might have some like cargo netting. Since we're quite low to the ground, it could be possible to do that fairly easily. What I mean by that is if I turn on my cargo here, so this, for example, prints flat. With intentional droopage occurring. I haven't test printed this yet, but it should work in principle. And if we used that sort of cargo netting, you could kind of have it, off on the sides or something. Wow, that's really... Where's my snapping? It is on the grid. Okay, good. It's on the grid, but apparently this isn't perfectly flat aligned. So, for example, you could have a smaller one of these that sort of just sticks out on the sides, and that would work fairly well. Add a weapons mounting off the side. Lots of people always want weapons, don't they? Imagine the astronaut hanging onto the handles for dear life with the legs trailing as one of the poses. Well, you would... I mean, it literally is just... you change the direction of the... let's see, I need my... where's my power suit? Because the original pose is a bit more forgiving. Let's see, here we go. So... It was designed to be, like this original pose before I reposed it, was basically posed after Quedelin Rao Meltron power suit before I repositioned everything. So it is just a little bit like, holding on for dear life. But I was thinking more like you get your mag boots on right before you go for a ride, just to make sure you're not falling off. Or a power arm off the side. What I've been thinking of is that on the front here, you could actually attach some of the smaller tools. Like if we get the workshop back up again and we look at the power armor in here, you could use these sort of like ball and socket joints to put some of the tool heads on that we had for whatchamacallit, for we have the spacesuit in there too. That really looks cool. That we had for the spider crab. So yeah, those are just some cool ideas that we could kind of maybe work with. I'm thinking some of a simple and easy version would just be to do like a longer tray, so it's more like a sort of truck, I guess. The first thing I thought of when I saw it was Nick Fury's old folks walker loaded with weapons. I wasn't going to suggest that as a mod. The ones from the armed drill and claw, yeah, exactly. So you have some like tool arms on it. Because I mean, this is a utility version vehicle, and yeah, I know you could turn it into your standard, Toyota with a 50 cal on the back. But I'm not sure. Longer tray sounds good. Yeah, that's a good starting point, and it's actually a fairly easy mod. I think too you could add like additional air supply. One thing I was thinking about actually is I was pulling this seat over because we do have this sort of like emergency tubing, and I thought it could be cool to sort of kit it out a bit more, like with an oxygen supply that hooks into this thing somehow. So the idea is like you got your RCS thrust here, and then your green is oxygen. I know those aren't the official colors. I'm just sort of going off astronauts coloring at the moment. I know it's wrong, and we might change it in the future. I did end up like, I think the Hyperion sphere has the correct colors. But yeah, in Afghanistan, was full of technicals with exactly, that's what I mean. Insurgent managed to do this in a cave with a soldering torch. We can too, exactly. So with a disco in the back. I'm guessing that's what I've been talking about. So anyway, trailer and hitch. I mean, the trailer kind of doesn't make sense, and the reason for that being that, especially, obviously, actually, these RCS thrusters are way too big for what it is. It is overkill, so maybe there should be an option where these are considerably smaller, and that probably wouldn't be too hard to implement without it, being excessive. It would be better if they were independent and computer controlled. What? The trailer, so that they're not if they're not actually physically attached. To follow a variant chariot for boxers. Yeah. I mean, it is a chariot, and I was thinking of making it the same. What was it? The Outback is the designer that I'm looking into the camera that I haven't even got plugged in. Jeez, sorry guys. Oh man, my throat is raw today. I'm so sorry. So, what was I trying to say? Yeah, like in universe, my sort of explanation is it's by the manufacturer Outback, which is kind of like sounds like an Aussie company. But yeah, it would, if you had a trailer on this thing, the RCS would not function very well at all. It would really affect weight distribution. So either lengthening the tray would be better, or the other thing that could be possible is to turn it into a cab, but I don't know. I kind of like it the way it is right now. It's just cool. And, it's just, the idea is it's an extra vehicular activity vehicle. An EVA. EV. VA. So, a bit silly, I know. Alright. Um, let's see. Is the stream still going? Yes, should be. Add a spearman. Like a real chariot. Yeah, just put a lance on the front, maybe. That'd be one way to do it. Just put a giant. It's too bad I don't have any weapons in here, or we could just put a giant like laser beam at the front, just mounted there. Because one of the inspirations for this thing, I'm just going to isolate it again, is actually the Bioroids from Superdimensional Cavalry Southern Cross, or the second Robotech generation, I guess, which I guess many of us grew up with, where the Bioroids had this sort of like hovercraft that they were floating on. So yeah, it would be interesting to just. I think you could work with a fixed mount weapon rather than a swivel gunner, and it kind of makes more sense for the type of vehicle. So we could do a weapons mount as an option. But yeah, I think just providing a few more fairly low cost, and when I say low cost, I mean obviously we've got this huge variety of different nernies and things. Obviously we have some very talented people in our community too that create variants, but obviously not everyone has that skill set, not everyone's aware of where to get that stuff. And so it could be cool to do a few variants for ourselves as well. So I'm thinking maybe the Trayback is a version we could do, and I'm thinking that maybe as well we could just, add a few extra features, just create a little bit of variation. Like if you got 2 or 3 of these, for example. Yeah, I really like how this is developed, to be honest. And it's neat, it's cool, it's tiny, it will fit 1 miniature or maybe possibly 2 fairly comfortable depending on where you want it. We could do a version without the battery if you want more tray space as well, or the battery can be moved to another place. I just kind of feel at the moment it creates a nice piece of asymmetry. And I love all of these sort of like handholds. It's weird. I mean, I designed it myself, and at the moment too, you've got the sort of cabling coming out of the battery, leading over to these areas. So it kind of makes sense, and we don't have the same on the other side. 2 if one hugs the other. Speaking of hugs, no hugs, John. No hugs. I'm over hugs. You get 1 per month. So yeah, I'd probably finish this up on Monday or over the weekend, depending. But I want to make sure that we're out in good time to show what we've got off. What we're putting out for May. I'm flying, Jack. But if they haven't got the boat boots, they surely fly away. Every 100 drivers gets me another hug. I tell you what, if you can get another 100 drivers, yeah, sure. But that's not existing ones. That's additional. We're at 550. If you can get us to 600. Yeah. 5 days to next month. He hasn't been here a month though. We're not counting calendar months. Anyway, what more do we have to talk about? So ACF Fleet rollout is continuing. It will continue for the next few months. John has started work on the Valkyria instructions, I believe, the import into 3DO. And the primary focus once we get this done is going to be on what comes next, which is Persephone for me. What we have been discussing in the background is if we should do something with Gridforge, either after or before, we're not sure yet. We always do have this situation where people need summer breaks, and it's not a great time for big projects. Yeah, John is doing some Gridforge stuff for May as well. And he spelled May the Swedish way. How nice. Anyway. as I kind of mentioned at the head of the show, we're going to keep this a little bit shorter today. And I hope you guys enjoyed seeing what's coming up. And next Friday should be all about Persephone. And I'm hoping to have the keel sort of laid down so I have a much better idea. The light kits, the Lego ones came the other day. I really want to start playing with that. I just need to remember to get the right number of batteries and actually read, the instructions. So, thank you for joining me. We'll be back next week and we'll have another update for you. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and hopefully a short week. Bye.